Today, we are going to explore hitting rock bottom. Now, let's be honest. We all know what this feels like. Probably many of us have been there many times. And I want you to know something that is super important, that simply because somebody has had a spiritual awakening, it does not mean they are ever exempt from challenge. In fact, this is far from the case. The challenge can become stronger, whether it be emotional, psychological, physical, the day to day life. Life continues to happen. You become much more sensitive. The difference is your relationship to it is very different because compassion develops. And then there's a relative kindness and exchange with life that is softer and more kind. So I want to explore this with you. And while you're here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like and share comment at any time, and we'll go ahead and continue. So I want to give you 6 things to remember when you feel like you've hit rock bottom. And we know what that feels like. It can be very isolating. You can feel like all of the resources that might be available to you at different times simply have gone out the window. On the inside, it can feel very barren. And actually, the energy to even go to the outside might be missing. So sometimes we can even look at this as a dark night of the soul, where you want to just pull down all the shutters, close all the doors, and do nothing. So there's many variations of hitting rock bottom. It can also be the experience of somebody who has addictive tendencies, and they've really come to a place of being very, very strung out, and it's a call for help. So hitting rock bottom can be a beautiful thing because it gives us an opportunity to fall apart. And that is the first thing that I want you to remember, is that it's okay to fall apart. It's okay to let yourself be fully human and to be messy. Now, often when we haven't been able to fall apart, there can be a very kind of ingrained pattern of holding, of containment, of suppression. And when that has been in the system for a very long time, and we've done a lot of things to move away from it, to numb out, to pretend it isn't there, just kind of like whenever we're moving away, there's some aversion happening, some fear. And then on the other side, when we're clinging to something and grasping, there's a desire, a really strong wanting. And neither of these things are wrong or bad, but there is a possibility to move through all of this by allowing yourself to fall apart and find the middle way. So give yourself permission, first of all, to fall apart. And what an opportunity, because when we really let go and fall apart, and believe me, it has happened here many times, we have an opportunity to rebuild ourselves from the ground up. When we fall apart and everything that has been suppressed is able to empty, explode, whatever the emotional content is, it doesn't matter. Frustration, anger, grief, maybe there's been the event of a loss, whether it be loss of a loved one, of a job, of, oh God, everything that we're losing right now during this COVID-19 and this economic breakdown. There's so much that for so many people isn't here. So that can be grief, like a lot of loss, a lot of grief. And we all know that the only way out, I don't want to sound too cliche, but the way out is through. And the way out is through these deeper, darker feelings. So just take a breath and take that much in so far. Just breathe and give yourself permission to not hold on, to just let everything break open. Let there be a waterfall. Let there be a gushing out. Whatever it is, a screaming, a ranting, a raving. Let it all fall apart. And sometimes we can think, well, if I begin to let myself open and crack open, that it will never end. Now remember that that perception is coming from the mind. And from the angle and perception of the mind, things are always distorted. And it might, from the vantage point of the mind, feel like, oh, if I let myself go into this and feel all of this, it will never end. But it will end. And we're built for these times. You will make it through. I can guarantee you that. Way gives way to way. So let it happen. Another good deep breath. So that's the first thing to remember, full permission to let yourself fall apart. And then to take time for yourself. Just to, some of us as parents, with children, or whether you have a job or a relationship, maybe you're taking care of someone who isn't well. So you have to be able to give yourself time for you. There isn't anybody that can understand you better than you. Only you can do you. So to take time for yourself, and that means to be very kind and soft, to take really good care, to do things that are nourishing, whether that be a warm bath, spending time out in the garden, going out in nature, taking a walk. And you'll find that you'll need this, because as you take the lid off and let yourself fall apart, there will be some exhaustion that comes with it. Because whenever we're holding on to something, a lot of energy can go into that. And when that energy starts to give way, there will be a corresponding exhaustion as things open and you empty out. So nourishment, taking time in whatever way that is that helps you to feel nourished. Kind, soft, the garden, the bath, music, not the internet. Just something kind and loving. And with this, the self compassion will be restored. And compassion is essential in this. So take time for yourself and see that the self compassion will come back. That kindness that's inside all of us will be relit again, and you will take good care. And with this, number 3 is to listen, to cultivate the capacity within yourself to listen. A really deep interior kind of listening. As I said before, there isn't anyone that can understand us better than we can understand ourselves. So maybe listening for you might begin with journaling, just giving yourself a voice on paper. You start to put it out on paper, and that can open up a more interior listening, which then gives way to an introspection, of exploring What have I been organized around that is maybe holding on tight as a belief that is fostering a sense of stuckness? So this slowing down and listening allows us to come into a spaciousness of self-reflection, of introspection. And when I say that, I do not mean to analyze yourself, not at all, not with any judgment, not with any critique, not to come into a duality of this shouldn't have happened, I should have done it this way, all of the right and wrong. No, to stay right out of that. And introspection is just a very kind looking and listening to see what we may be organized around, what kind of belief systems. So, and that can lead to an inquiry, whatever you want to call it, but this deeper interior listening. So take that in. Take another deep breath. Always breathing through you. The way out is always through. So I'm going to give you a fourth thing to remember. And the fourth thing to remember is similar to what I've already said, but I want to put it in a different way, and I want to call it to mother yourself. And this is a form of nourishment that is a little bit different when I was talking about being kind to yourself. Mothering is kind, but there are some of us who have the missed experience of a kind mother or of a healthy attachment with the mother early on. So some of us have the missed experience of mothering. So this is where you have to show up for you as your own mother in a way to reparent yourself. So in this interior listening, you may find a young place, a young girl or a young boy, a younger you that has missed a particular experience of mothering. And this is a really essential thing to remember, that that isn't personal. That all of our mothers have always done the best they could at the time with what they had. It doesn't mean that they made a conscious decision, isolated from all other things that were going on in the world of their life at the time, and decided to miss an important experience for you, to be there when you really needed her. So here we have to show up for ourselves as the mother. And this is so important right now because this missed experience is a collective kind of missed experience happening in the collective with our Mother Earth. She has had some missed experience. She has perhaps not had reciprocity. I mean, this is a completely, this is a conversation that could go on all by itself. But just to make the point, is that mother is always calling us home to ourselves, and we're returning home to listen to her. And she is inside of us. And the more that we listen and mother ourselves and mother that missed experience, the more we also connect to the great Mother Earth. And we can hear her call as well. And we can nourish her. We can be in a greater reciprocity. So when we take the time to mother ourselves, we're also supporting the collective mothering of the planet, of Earth Mother. Just take that in. Feel that. And as you feel more in your body, mothering happens in the body. And when we come into our bodies, we are connecting more with Mother Nature. Mother Nature is alive. So take this on as a remembering to mother yourself and see the aliveness that then can happen in you and how this is directly connected to the Mother Earth. And there's great nourishment in that for all of us. So it's not personal, just like your mother didn't make a personal choice to miss something about you that was important. So acknowledge yourself. Fill in that missed experience for you because you can, because it's time and it's safe. You can do this for you. Take another good deep breath. Down and in. The way out is through. Now, the fifth remembering that I want to give to you is to give yourself the opportunity to engage in creative outlets. Maybe take up that old hobby, that is sitting in a closet or in a box somewhere that has been shoved away in a corner, maybe under a bed, something that maybe you enjoyed at one time and you've just set it aside. Bring that out again. Bring something out that is fun for you, whatever it is. It could even be coloring or knitting or drawing, painting, dancing, making music. All of these things we can do while we're in this pandemic. Because I'm very aware of the isolation that is happening right now for so many people. And it especially doesn't help people who already have pre-existing mental health conditions. So find these things that you enjoy, that you can do by yourself, but that are fun, and bring a smile to your face. Let yourself have that activity again because you can. You have permission for that. Find out what it is. Maybe it's going out to a lake and swimming or jumping in the ocean. Anything that gives you joy, do it. And the number 6 thing I want you to remember is to check out what it is you're surrounding yourself with. Sometimes we just surround ourselves with social media, the internet, and check out when you do that what happens in your body. Just check that out because the body doesn't lie. So just check out what you surround yourself with. And if you don't have the opportunity to surround yourself with good friends, or family or people that you really resonate with and feel there's a nice exchange of warmth, of intelligence, or of heart, whatever that is that feels good, then remember, let yourself have the memories of prior times of special people in your life, whether it's a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, an old friend, a school teacher, perhaps a neighbor, maybe even somebody like me, a memory. Remember that person and that memory that you had a good time with or you felt cared. I need to have a drink of water. Excuse me. But to remember this person, this time, maybe many times of really connecting emotionally, a nice emotional or soul deep connection. If it isn't happening right now, to remember that and notice what happens in your body when you remember that person. Maybe it's an ancestor. And let that come forward. Let that come forward into you now because it can and it will with you opening to it. And with that comes a natural gratitude. And gratitude begets gratitude. It just does. So when we start to feel our gratitude for all of the different connections that we've made in life with people, with places, with ancestors, with experience that has brought us a feeling of goodness. That gratitude deepens and it brings us to our own goodness. It just carves out the goodness that's here already, within you always. So gratitude. And now in this time of social distancing, I know that a hug might be missing. Well, see if you can sneak one in. I think you're not going to die. It will be all right. Sneak in a good hug. And my Zoom meetings are a really nice way to connect with people because everyone that comes into these meetings are all interested in truth and orienting their lives around truth, being in alignment with truth, with care, deep care, compassion, kindness, all of these things that help us to embody the deepest knowing that we are. So make yourself available to that. It doesn't mean that you even have to speak, but you can be in the energy of what is sometimes called satsang. Even in cyberspace, you can feel the energy, the transmission of this deep knowing that we all are and where we're all connected here at the base. Now, taking another good breath, and I want to give you one more thing, and this is my bonus. If you've come with me this far, thank you. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. But this is the bonus. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Now I know that you have heard this before, and there's a place in you that resonates with this. Stillness. Be still. Now this here is the direct path. When we hit rock bottom, one option is to directly go here. And with this as an orientation, the movement through will continue to happen, but it can happen from a ground of stillness. Think of yourself like a tree, because stillness is not just one point where you somehow are untouched by the comings and goings of life, by the desire and the wanting on one side and the fear and aversion on the other. No, not at all. Stillness is not a point. It's an expansion. It's like the roots at the base of the tree that spread out in all directions anchoring down through the earth. This is stillness. It's the ground of being. It isn't a point where we hang out and then we're just not touched by all of life. No, it's an expanse. It's the I am is an expanse that includes everything. And as we sync and align here, because our alignment here is a wonderful orienting principle, to orient yourself around aligning with stillness at the base. And you'll feel this register in your body. And the body doesn't lie. And it helps us to find, this is our compass for the middle way. That place that is not beyond the opposites, but includes them both and has a capacity to remain in the middle, not distant, but expansive, including everything. So as you continue to move through life, as you will, as life is happening, can't get away from life. Life continues. Listen to your body. And if you're feeling stress in your body or anxiety or whatever you want to call it, fear, just check to see what you might be telling yourself. What are the stressful thoughts that you might be circulating in your mind and then believing? And then be still. Know the I am, the great expanse here below, like a tree with great roots anchoring down in all directions. Another deep breath. I want to end. I've read this before, but I love it, and it's so perfect for today. And this is Rumi, and it is called The Guest House. This being human is a great house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He or she may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.